It is early morning. A traditional wake-up call marking the beginning of household chores. For many urban homes in Malawi, a start to a day is around a fire, and about 76.4% of urban households use charcoal as the main source of cooking energy, since the country's electricity supply is unreliable and costly to sustain for an average Malawian. Much as there are alternatives in energy supply like solar or gas, the most readily available resource to tap into for many urban households is charcoal. What is worrisome is that almost all the charcoal is illegal and is produced unsustainably from indigenous trees in the remaining forest reserves and other protected areas. The charcoal is mostly transported at night through illegal paths to markets, mostly in urban areas. Unfortunately, all this comes at a cost that over time has proven to be very adverse on the environment and economic development. According to the Director of Forestry, the reasons for forest loss are many.
And some of the drivers include population growth. Since 1972 to date, we are now almost 20 million or over. So this population needs energy. This population needs area for cultivation. So the pressure is on forests. People are harvesting forests for firewood production, for charcoal production, and for also timber. So we see that this is being done in an unsustainable manner. We are not harvesting at the rate we are also supposed to replace. So that's where is the challenge. The utilization is not a problem, but utilizing more than what you can replace is the challenge. And one of the factors is because we have a high population than what the forests can carry in Malawi.
Over time, and with trends that encountered challenges to put to halt, Malawi has experienced ultimate retaliation from Mother Nature. In 2022, Tropical Cyclone Anna brought with it massive destruction and devastation in its wake. More than 1 million people were left destitute, in dire need of life-saving and life-sustaining humanitarian assistance. Barely a year later, another devastation cropped in. A terrible eruption that occurred from the desolate Sochi Hill, affecting a larger part of Blantyre city and surrounding areas. In a matter of days, similar eruptions occurred in districts like Palombe, Mulanje, and Chiradzulu. It was very catastrophic. A state of disaster was declared by the president. Efforts are still underway to help the nation build back better. A deep analysis into the situation will conclude that indeed nature took its course. Why? Human activities. People have encroached even into protected areas, leaving no breathing space for nature to flourish. Hilly settlements are slowly becoming a norm, and protected areas are being turned into farmlands and bare grounds.
If we look at the trends between 1972, 1992, 2022, the forest cover has decreased tremendously. To date, we are losing 0.64% of forest every year, and this translates to almost 15,000 hectares being lost. In the past, we were losing forests on customary land, but nowadays most of the forest on customary land has been cleared, is degraded. So people are now degrading or clearing and extracting forest produce from forest reserves. So that's where we now see a lot of devastation.
A survey on some of the southern region districts can attest to how much human activities have become a major threat to a lot of protected areas where forest cover is under intense threat. This is Molipa Hills within Liwonde Forest Reserve in Traditional Authority in Sanama in Machinga in the southern region of Malawi. Here, charcoal and timber production is a major cause of deforestation. Every day, there is wanton cutting down of trees, topped with unsustainable or illegal farming activities evident as you pass by.
Charcoal production this time around is very bad. You know, Machinga is near Zomba, which is a city.
On the other side, in Togolo Block, inside Zomba Malosa Forest Reserve, mismanagement challenges are evident everywhere. Encroachment is a major challenge. The once upon protected land is slowly becoming a bare ground, allowing other activities like forest fires, cultivation along riverbanks, or even inside the stomach of the river, as well as cutting down of trees, which is giving the environment no room for regeneration. Aerial shots that have been taken in different areas showing vegetative cover within a space of 10 years indicate massive destruction to Mother Nature. Mike Chirwa describes in satellite images the reduction of forest cover at the grand scale in the areas that were heavily affected by the recent tropical cyclone Freddy.
In terms of relevance of the national monitoring to forest development in Malawi, as well as the critical structural unit for the Department of Forestry, we are saying the data that is generated by this national monitoring unit is really critical for decision making for the Department of Forestry. In terms of resource allocation, for example, I'll just cite one example: resource allocation, human resource allocation. Recently, the Department of Forestry has employed over 300 forest rangers. How do they deploy these forest rangers across the country? There are critical hotspots that the Department of Forestry will need to focus on. For example, it could be Liwonde Forest Reserve that is highly degraded over these past 5 years. Unlike in Ichisi Forest Reserve that is still intact between 2016 and now. So it's about informing decision making within the Department of Forestry, informing forest planning in Malawi.
What is most unfortunate about all this is the lack of awareness to the communities on the benefits of forest conservation. Take Sadzi Hill, for example. In the year 2014, these 110 hectares within the hill was bare ground, triggered by massive human activities. It took massive steps as well that were initiated by 16 concerned citizens with the help of Zomba City Council to conserve the area and have it returned to its glory with its committee members that have equally increased over time. 8 years down the line, the results and benefits that the communities are having from their hard work are rewarding and outstanding.
We want to inform, to tell the nation at large, we should have ownership of this country. we should have the love for this country. We should have the spirit of patriotism, because this is our own country. We were born here, we will die here. Man, human being, was created on earth to take care of all these natural environmental issues.
Minama Block under Traditional Authority Malemia in Zomba, also in the southern region, is a growing area from deforestation to massive afforestation, which is already bearing fruits to the local residents here. This block is in Zomba Mountain with a hectareage of 2,084. This area was once encroached, but after agreement on forest co-management with the communities here at Ntogolo, the story is now different. There are more than 90 beehives here, making communities self-reliant from the honey sales. The water that is harvested from the hill goes towards irrigation in gardens that they made to equally benefit the locals. This is a sign that if we take care of the land, reforestate it, and conserve whatever is left, the returns are many. As it stands, not all is lost.
There is still opportunity that we can regrow or restore the forest cover that we have lost wantoningly. We have so many initiatives under the ministry that we are undertaking to make sure that forests are restored back to the former glory of 1972 or before that. First of all, we have the Forest Act, and the Forestry Act has been amended in 2020 so that we increase the fines of those who are not abiding by the law.
Similarly, there is need to address the root cause on the ground that has brought about this massive deforestation, which is charcoal production. There is need to provide sustainable energy options that ensure that Malawi's forest and soil reserves are managed more efficiently, equitably, and sustainably.
We work with government and with the private sector, and we support the government to address charcoal-led deforestation from three mutually reinforcing directions. First, we work with government to improve regulation and enforcement, and that includes some work on the amendment of the Forestry Act, the development of regulations, and then the support for law enforcement on the ground, working with the Malawi Police Service and the Department of Forestry. And then we work in urban areas with the private sector and government to increase the supply of alternative cooking energies, and that includes LPG, biogas, licensed charcoal, improved stoves, pellets, and gasifiers, a wide range of cooking solutions. And we also work with the public to raise awareness so that they're aware that there are these alternatives, where they understand where they can get them, what the advantages and some of the disadvantages of each may be. And then we work with the government and its partners in two larger landscapes, one in northern Malawi in Mzimba and in Katabe, and the second one in central Malawi in Lilongwe, Salima, and Dedza districts, to support government to improve planning, management, and conservation of some of the most hard-hit forest reserves, and associated with that, improve the livelihoods of forest adjacent communities.
As a partnering organization in this project, Winrock, in collaboration with Modern Cooking for Healthy Forests in Malawi, MCHF, will build the government of Malawi's capacity to utilize data, systems, and tools to improve forests monitoring. Through the eyes of Cyclone Freddy, one thing is clear, that time has come for everyone to take a role in bringing back the forest glory before it's too late.
A lot of people, when they talk about deforestation, they think of it as an environmental problem. But in Malawi, deforestation, degradation is much bigger than an environmental problem. It's a national development challenge. We can invest in building resilience, or we can invest in improving agricultural productivity. But if every 2 years or every 3 years those gains are going to be wiped out by floods or by droughts, we can't achieve much as a country. We can't sustain our gains. And so from my perspective, and I think what we've learned collectively, is that forest conservation, protecting the remaining forests, restoring the degraded forests, and building back Malawi's catchments is absolutely essential to Malawi's development and to building resilience, real resilience to climate change. We know that we know that the climate is changing. We know that that means that the frequency and the severity of extreme weather, of floods and droughts, is going to increase. Malawi's best defense against droughts, floods, that variability, is to build back its forests. And that is something that government across the board and communities need to embrace.
That is a big lesson. We need to start comparing now. The areas which were hit hard by Cyclone Freddy, the landslides themselves, you can see that they were erupting from degraded forests. Most of those areas which were hit hard, they are degraded forests.
Time has now come for us to look at the environmental conservation areas as a source of livelihood, not as a source of money. Because if you look at it just as a source of money, it means we just go in there and cut the trees and make some charcoal and sell, and then without taking care of that. But if we look at them as a source of livelihood, it means we can go in there, put our beehives, harvest some honey and sell. And by and by, we are conserving, we are encouraging ecotourism, and we are restoring our nature, the nature that we have destroyed.
It will take a collective responsibility to regrow and restore our degraded forests and landscapes with sustainable energy options by strengthening low emissions planning, analysis, and investment capacities.